What's up, YouTube? It's PJ, and it is time for another video. So, what's up? I feel like it's been forever. And uh, in YouTube mindset, it has. It's been about 3 weeks since I posted a video. Sorry about that, but the last couple weeks have been a little crazy, uh, just because stuff happened. So, why has it been so crazy? Well, if you watch my um, last video, you will know that I was um, in the middle of a uh, week between camps. So I had gotten back from church camp and was getting ready to go serve at disability family retreat through Johnny and Friends, about an hour and a half away. So I did that, and that was awesome. And I'll get into that in a second. But then I came home, and I actually started feeling kind of cruddy on the way home. And I never really ran a fever or anything, but I felt like I had a cold. So my guess would be that I came home with a sinus infection, and it's been about a 2 week process for me just to feel halfway alive again. So, the first week being home, I was sore. I was not feeling awesome. Um, actually, I was feeling pretty crappy, if I'm being completely honest. And then last week, I was feeling, my body itself was feeling better, but I was still feeling kind of crappy because of what was going on with my sinuses. So, I really didn't feel like putting together a video for you guys because I wanted to put out the best I possibly could. Um, and then wasn't the time where I could do that. But that time has finally come, and so here we are. So, family retreat was amazing as always, and it was honestly kind of a shot in the arm uh, for me, and something happened there that I needed to happen. Um, which if you've been watching my videos um, the last couple months, uh, I haven't, and you know how I usually am, you would know that I haven't been my normal go-getter self, and that's been about a year process since I got back from my Johnny and Friends internship last summer. Um, but this year at camp, at family retreat, aka camp. So if I use those two interchangeably. They mean the same thing. Um, but this year at camp, I had just come off of serving at church camp, and God had really started to work on me and tell me, hey, you need to get your head out of wherever it is and just go back to the grind. Um, but at family retreat, you really have to check your ego at the door and realize that it's not all about you. Um, which throughout the entire process of my funk or whatever it was that I was in, uh, I didn't really go to it's all about me. I just didn't feel like um, getting getting things going. But at camp, um, you have to get things going whether you feel like it or not. Um, because the families you're trying to help are they don't have anything else to give. So you have to be ready to step up and give for them. So they get that week to recharge, uh, so they can go back and do what they need to do to help their family member who's what we call the primary. That's um, the person who deals specifically with the disability. So, as a person with a disability, um, when I walk into family retreat, um, I I really have to check my ego at the door because I know how that feels. So it's my job, or it's not really my job, but as a volunteer who trains the other volunteers, I feel like it's my job to help the other volunteers that I'm training and that I'm gonna be around for a week. Yeah, I feel like I need to convey that aspect to them so they know, hey, these families may never have met you before you walk in or whatever, but this week, regardless of who you are, um, they're gonna be counting on you um, to help them get the rest that they need. Because the thing about living with a disability um, is, and I sometimes in my videos with this, is the fact that uh, disability never sleeps. Meaning, you may roll into bed at night and have your body may physically be sleeping, but that disability is always a present factor. So the key is not to let it define you to the point where you become non-existent. And admittedly, I was there. I was letting it define me to the point of non-existence. And I couldn't really put uh, my finger on why um, it happened, because it's never really happened that way. Even after my dad left, I kept going. It sometimes didn't feel like I kept going, but it did. I did because I had to, because I had a younger sister. I had to help walk through that process just because at points my mom couldn't couldn't process what she was going through, which affected how she helped us through that stuff. So even through my darkest moments, I had never let my disability define me to the point where I just didn't want to deal with it. And over the last couple months, admittedly, I was at that point. So, wow, this video's taking direction. I really didn't plan on it, but that's okay because I want to be real with you guys, um, and be honest because I've been dishonest for way too long with myself and a whole bunch of other people. But anyway, that's the thing about family retreat is you have to put whatever is going on in your life on hold while you're there. Does that mean your life stops? No, but all your baggage, all you've got going on, the good, the bad, the ugly, that doesn't matter. That needs to be over here. Deal with it in your private moments. And we do that. I told some of my closest friends that I make at family retreat, that I only get to see at family retreat, what I had been going through, and in our private moments the entire week, they were helping me walk through that and process what I needed to do to get better and make life happen. And I've come back, and the last 2 weeks, I haven't really, I really didn't do anything because I just didn't feel like doing anything. Not because I didn't want to, uh, for the sake of not wanting to, but I didn't do anything because I didn't want to, because I felt like crap. So, um, this week has been a completely different ballgame. Um, I've been looking for jobs because I want to pick up a job, not only to earn some money, but to kind of give me something else to occupy my time with besides school, um, because um, I think that was a major part of me failing my classes last semester, is even with all the volunteer work I was doing, um, I still had too much time on my hands. If I find a paying job that I know I'm gonna be going to work a set amount of hours every week, um, then that'll give me even less time to goof off. So I need to make sure when I go back to school in October, that that stuff gets done before I go to work. And I've finally, we had to get some stuff set up for me to be able to, but I am I've started the process of uh, applying for my Social Security disability, which anybody who has a disability should know what that is, what that means. So, but in my case, I'm not gonna keep it permanently. I'm just gonna keep it um, while I am in school um, for insurance purposes because I have no medical insurance currently and haven't for about 2 years now. So, uh, but if you're on SSI, um, you can get insurance through that. So until I finish school, um, I can um, have that, and then when I get out of school and get the job that I want, and the job that I'm working towards, um, I can, um, I will kick that to the curb, because I can work full time and not have to worry about all that other stuff. So, um, so I've started that process. I've also started something that I've always felt. Sorry, I've always felt led to, but really didn't have the guts to go out there on my own and do anything about it. Because again, I let the disability define me and uh, define me to the point where I didn't feel like I was good enough um, to do anything. But another thing this summer has taught me is that I need to redefine my ministry focus just a little bit. Um, and family retreat a couple weeks ago really helped me figure that out. Uh, because before, when I was struggling with direction and stuff like that, due to all this stuff that happened with school, um, and all that other stuff that I've mentioned in past video, I was really struggling with, okay, God, I'm spinning my wheels here, but I don't know which way I need to go. I know what you want me to do, but how do you want me to do it? And the what, of course, is disability ministry. This channel is part of that process. Um, I started this channel to give people outside of my realm and the realm of disability, and even people inside that realm peek into what living a life or living another life with a disability could look like. So, um, one of my main jobs um, for the last 2 years, or last year and this year, at family retreat, has been to train all the volunteers, not just new ones. So, um, first day, volunteers get to, let me back up. First day, volunteers get to family retreat on a day before the families who are actually coming to family retreat get there. So we have, by the time we get done and the families actually start arriving, we have almost a full 24 hours of nothing but training, and that's on uh, disability etiquette and safety, whether that's with wheelchairs or just disabilities in general. We train on what we're going to be doing in our program areas so we know uh, what specifically our task in our area will be. We train on emergency procedures. If medical situations happen, which at a retreat for families affected by disabilities, that happens a lot, quite frequently, actually. Um, so, and a ton of other stuff. We train on um, location awareness, uh, find out who we need to call if something happens, and all that stuff. So, last year, as part of my internship, when I was actually considered to be on staff um, for the Johnny and Friends office um, in Knoxville and in Charlotte, but especially in Knoxville, they let me just take this and run with it. I got to do disability etiquette and wheelchair safety for all the volunteers. So people who've been doing this 10, 15 years in some cases had to listen to me. Uh, te- teach them how to handle wheelchairs in certain situations and all that stuff. So last year I must have done a really good job because I spoke on the same topic at a conference in April in Knoxville, and then after I got done with that, they officially asked me because by that point they knew I was coming back to camp. They asked me to take the lead on that again um, with even more of a free hand on how I did it. The only thing they asked me to do was keep it in the time window that they gave me, which I didn't find out till I got there because we didn't know how big the groups were gonna be that I was gonna be training because each program area, or not each program area, but depending on the number of volunteers we have, we break it up. So I'm not talking to X amount of people at a time. I'm talking to a small uh, group where I can get more one-on-one with them in case they have questions, concerns, and all that stuff. So, I was responsible for training 100 volunteers this year, which um, was the most we ever had, or that particular camp has ever had. So, and I still noticed, because we all noticed, even with that number, the amount that we still needed, because you can never have enough volunteers, because some of the disabilities are so severe that you have to have 2 or 3 people uh, to one. So sometimes the ratios can be a little lopsided and skewed depending on what the campers and the families need. So by the end of the week, I had sort of been praying before I got there that God would just show me and help me hone in on the direction I wanted to go, or that He wanted me to go, not that I wanted to go, um, but the direction He wanted from me. So by the end of that week, I trained all the volunteers at the beginning of the week. Um, I was there for the volunteers throughout the week, as well as working in my own program area. And I told my mom this because I actually got to call her at one point. Um, because we had cell service, um, which is something we normally don't have a whole bunch of where we're at. So I called her at one point and she asked me how I was and how it was going. And from a physical standpoint, by that point, I was dead tired because, unlike last year, it rained on us all week long, and where we were is about 99, well, 100% gravel. Uh, so there's little patches of broken pavement in spots, but it's mostly gravel. Um, so wet, dry gravel uh, plus wheelchairs uh, is an annoyance. Wet gravel, where it's raining constantly and creating bigger potholes than even the spreaders and the fillers that the location could keep up with, is almost, it almost drives you to insanity, because you know there's nothing you can do about it, but you try. And like I said, at family retreat, you check your attitude and your ego and your wants and dislikes at the door. So even though at home I've been struggling through all this stuff, I knew, okay, I'm at camp, I gotta flip the switch. So I flipped the switch, and for me, flipping the switch means being stubborn and uh, not wanting to ask for help, because there's about 10 people behind me who need more help than I do. So I push myself 99% of the time till about the last night, when my arms were just dead, and then finally my friends were like, "We don't care what you say, we're pushing you." But anyway, so I was telling my mom that, and I also said I'm not an official intern this year, which they told me, okay, they told me before going in, okay, you're not the official intern, but you're going to be the unofficial intern. Um, so same thing applies as last year. If people have questions we think you can answer, we're gonna send them to you because you know what you're doing. Um, so I told my mom I'm doing intern stuff without having the intern tag uh, on me. So, and that was fine. That's what I wanted to do. But throughout that week, God just continued to show me, hey, you need to focus on training and recruiting um, as far as um, from a Johnny and Friends aspect goes, because that's what you're good at. You know what they need, and if you don't know, you know the people who do, and if they don't, they know the people who do. So I have the connections to find out. Okay, what are we gonna need, and what can I do to help? So, to that end, I went back to work with the ministry I work here with at home um, Sunday of last week. And my boss, has been to family retreats that I have worked before. So she knows how exhausted I am by the end of those. And when I told her uh, I came home sick, she kind of looked at me a little funny and went, "Oh, you must have looked almost like you must have worked really hard then." So I told her what I wanted to do, which was focus on training and recruitment for. Training is a constant thing, but I also told her I wanted to um, focus on recruiting more STMs, which is what Johnny and Friends calls their volunteers. It stands for short term missionary or short term ministry leader, depending on who you ask. Um, but generally, the definition is short term missionary. So, um, and like I said, my boss has been to family retreats before. Um, so she knows that even if you have 100 STMs, like we did a couple weeks ago, you can always use more. So, um, through our ministry here, we've gotten to uh, work in a couple different churches, especially her church um, that she's working with. Um, so I approached her, and as we were talking and all that stuff, I said, "Do you think we can schedule a training? Do you think your church leadership, and I'm friends with almost everybody at our church because we do a lot there and they do a lot outside the church also has started doing a lot of the same events that we do outside of church training. So I've built relationships with her church leadership and especially her senior pastor. Him and I are really good friends. Um, and so I just flat out asked her, I'm like, do you think your church leadership would be willing to host an event for your church members to hear about um, what we do at family retreat so I can maybe recruit some more STMs for family retreat next year, and she flat out looked at me and without even blinking said, yes, I think we can make that happen. So Monday, I emailed her because she's got a lot of stuff going on. So anytime we talk about stuff, she says, email me and remind me to talk to this person or that person or to do this or do that. So I did that. And I also said, hey, if they greenlight this, I know you got a bunch of stuff going on around the time frame we're looking. Um, so if this happens, I can do the legwork for this one if you want, because this is something I asked for. This is something I want to do. And 6 months ago, I probably wouldn't have said that. I probably wouldn't have said that 2 weeks ago. That's how much a shot in the arm family retreat was for me, and reminded me. It reminds me every year when I go why I do what I do, because I see the smiles and I see the um I see the relief uh when the families get there. Okay, so sometimes depending on the retreat, volunteers can either get there Saturday or Sunday, and depending on when they get there, um, differs from each retreat. Um, so if volunteers, like with the Knoxville office, where I volunteer with, get there on Saturday, families get there Sunday and go to Thursday, and retreat runs to Thursday. If volunteers get there Sunday, families get there Monday, and retreat runs to Friday. So the date and times can change, but there's a bunch of things that don't change. And one of the things that changes doesn't is when families get there, because for a lot of these families it's the only vacation they get a year. For a lot of those same families, it's the only exposure to church they get a year. Not because they want it to be the only exposure, but where they are, their churches don't accept their families because they're a family member or multiple family members in some cases have disabilities, and church as a whole doesn't really know how to handle disabilities. So that's why I do what I do, or that's a part of why I do what I do. But as far as family retreat goes, when families get there on Sunday, I can see how worn down they are. Not just because I have seen most of these families. Um, I've built relationships with some of these families over the year between last year and this year, so I see things on Facebook. I hear things through other friends. Um, but I also know what that feels like. So, and I know how living with a disability affects my family. So, I can see how worn down they are when they get there on Sunday afternoon. By the time they leave camp on Thursday afternoon, I can see how recharged they are, how revitalized they are, ready to slog through another year till they get back to camp. So the more volunteers we have, at camp, the more we're able to do for those families at camp, because we can allow more families in, or we can spend more time with the able-bodied siblings because they have their own companions, which is something they don't always have because of numbers, which is something we run into a lot. We have enough to cover um, the disabled family member and sometimes the younger siblings, but if you have a teenage sibling, sometimes they unintentionally they get left out. There's no there's no other way to say it, and we as STMs try to pick up the slack where we can. That's part of the reason we come home so exhausted, but we're not invincible. We can't be multiple places at once, no matter how hard we try. So for me, it's becoming okay. I need to get the word out there. I need to push this into the front of people's brains so they know that this is an awesome opportunity uh, to serve. It's not a lot of time. You have time to raise the money. Um, so what's next for me? Um, well, obviously, I'm trying to lay the groundwork, groundwork for an event, to explain, what Family Retreat does, and expose others to what it means. Um, so, I do, so that is a possibility that's a couple months down the road. So I'll probably hit on that subject again, uh, uh if and when um, the possibility becomes a reality. So it's not an if as much as it's a when. Um, so, and like I said, I'm going to uh, hit school hard come October and start digging myself out of that hole, because that's a part of this process. I can't fully commit myself to what I want to do and what I feel God wants me to do um, until I get done with school. And I can't do that until I dig myself out of the hole I dug myself into last spring um, and part of last fall. So I do get to take a fun trip in about 2 weeks. Uh, I'm going to a sci-fi convention uh, with my mom and my cousin. So this is something my mom and I have been planning for the entire year. So it's coming up in about 2 weeks over Labor Day weekend. So that's gonna be a fun weekend just for me to uh, be around other people who enjoy science fiction stuff just as much as I do. Um, and like I said, this summer's been crazy with different trips and stuff, but those are what I consider work trips. So this is a purely fun, go enjoy yourself, be a 23-year-old trip. Don't act crazy as far as get yourself into trouble or anything. I still have to be responsible because I'll have my 18-year-old cousin with me. So I still have to watch his back and he will watch my back. But it's a time for me to just have fun, be myself, and strengthen that bond that I have with him because I'm trying to mentor him and show him what a what being a being a stand up guy looks like. So, but then I'll come back and it'll be um, time to just hit uh, stuff hard. Before that, um, like I said, I've already gone back to one volunteering job. I went back to that Sunday. Uh, the school that I volunteer at as a security guy slash teaching assistant um, goes back the week before I actually go on my trip. So it's funny. I'll be leaving to go on my trip from work. So um, so that I actually have to do stuff with that this week. We have open house and staff meet and greet for the families this week. So, and I didn't experience that last year because I kind of decided I was going to volunteer with them a week before class started because I was gone last summer and really didn't know if they were gonna need somebody to do that. And then when I got back, my mom told me, "Yeah, this is gonna happen." So I said, "Okay." But and then of course, I'm gonna hit YouTube hard. Because all this stuff, minus the um trip to the sci-fi convention, ties into what I want to do. I want to, well, even that ties in to a lesser extent because I don't know how many disabled um, people are going to be there. So it'll give me a chance to show that you, even with a disability, you have a chance to go enjoy yourself and have a productive life. But all this ties into what I what my new focus is, and that's our not really a new focus, but a new way to get that focus out there. Um, so because all the stuff I do affects how people see disability, for the good or the bad. And over the last year or so, I've been doing stuff that has weighed more towards the bad side of things, and that's on me. So this year, as far as the academic year and all that stuff, uh, it is going to be me getting back to the person who people close to me know me to be, which is the go-getter, which is the guy who just did anything he could do to tear down walls, and you guys are going to be a part of that because it's a constant thing where you have to remind yourself, hey, this is why we do it. So um, drop me an encouraging message from time to time. Um, throw a topic out there you want me to make videos on. Um, because I want to engage you guys. This isn't just me talking. I actually talked to my sister the other night. Um, when I get my SSI started, one of the first things I'm gonna look at possibly doing is buying like a GoPro or a small camera or something to, so I can take those with me and record some of the stuff I do. So you get different variations of videos instead of me sitting in front of my laptop all the time. So you guys can actually see what I'm talking about and see that I do want to live out what I'm saying. On the videos, you just don't get to see it because it's really hard to lug your laptop around everywhere with you, and even harder to record with it when it's not in one set spot. So, and again, I want to give a shout out to Kyle and McKenna from Got Love, because yeah, they haven't done anything for me specifically, but them sending me uh, t-shirts and all that stuff and telling me thank you for what you're doing and what you're trying to do um, has helped me get to this point. Um, because you've heard the saying, it takes a village to do anything. It really does. Because one person one person can change things, but then it takes other people to help that person get there. So, and I've had a bunch of people help me get to different points in my life. And YouTube is one of those points, and them along with family and stuff have told me, hey, you're doing a good job. But to hear it from somebody who actually does it, that means the world to me and to others like me. So, again, guys, thank you, and thanks for being along on the journey. So, uh, give this video a thumbs up, hit that thumbs up button, hit the share button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, my Instagram link is on the page, so go hit that and you get to see pictures and stuff of some of the things I talk about. My YouTube Facebook page is up there, so, and if it doesn't work, just go to Facebook and type in PJ Crouch YouTube in the search box, and it'll take you straight to it. Hit the like button there and get involved. Send me messages that way. You can also send me messages through here and through Instagram. So, and as always, if you guys have questions, want video topics, leave them in the comment section, and I will see you guys soon. Thanks a lot.